Claire Bowman, Session 1, Part 1. Hi Claire, welcome to the Wellness Centre.
Thank you.
My name's Carmen and I'll be with you for the next 6 sessions or so.
Okay, hi Carmen.
Hi, thank you for coming in. Did you find the place okay?
I did, thank you, and there was ample parking underneath, so that was really good.
Excellent, good to hear. All right, have you had counselling before?
No, this is my first time, Carmen, to a counselling session, so to be honest, I'm quite unsure as what to expect.
Okay, well, how about I go through with you what we need to do. So we have a counselling contract. It informs you of your rights and responsibilities and my rights and responsibilities.
Yes.
And at the end, I'll get you to sign that you've understood. I'll sign it, and then we can begin the actual counselling.
For sure.
Okay, so first of all, we have the counselling approach here at the Wellness Centre.
Mm-hmm.
We believe in our clients being the authorities in their own lives, and that you are best equipped to know what's right for you.
Yeah.
And we are here to facilitate and support better life choices that you want to make.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, in terms of confidentiality, everything that is said between us is confidential, and only time that confidentiality is broken is in the case of me considering you to be at risk of harm to yourself or to another person.
Okay, but Carmen, what if my husband Jake, what if he rings up and he wants to know what's being discussed?
Okay, Jake is subject to the same rules as everybody else, that we can't disclose what is said in here to him. I would perhaps advise you that he's called and that he would like information, and we can determine between the two of us whether or not you choose to share some of that information or not, and how you do that.
Okay, no worries, I understand that.
Okay,
Yep.
So the other case in which confidentiality would be broken is if the counselling records are subpoenaed in a court of law. We are obligated to hand them over.
For sure.
They are factual and succinct, so
Yes.
they're usually not too incriminating,
Yes.
but it is a possibility.
No, I do understand that process, yes.
Okay, and if another party or agency, such as another counsellor, a GP for instance, would like your information or a letter, we give that to them, but we do that with your consent and we go through with you in advance what that would entail. Yes. And the only other instance is, of course, mandatory reporting of child mental abuse.
For sure.
Do you understand that?
I do, thank you.
Okay, absolutely. You have 6 sessions that run for an hour on a weekly basis.
Yep.
Payment and cancellation policy is listed here.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been gone through with you by reception.
It was, yes.
Record keeping. I like to take notes. It helps me help you when I do things in between sessions.
Mm-hmm.
It also allows for continuity of counselling.
Yes.
And I would like to take them while we talk. Is that all right?
Yeah, look, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, absolutely. We keep those notes for 7 years.
Okay.
All right, email and telephone contact. It is there, but it's minimal.
Yes.
All therapy goes on face-to-face in this room, and email, telephone conversations are generally short follow-ups or information giving, and same as emails.
Okay.
All right?
No worries.
No actual therapy will be conducted over the phone or via email.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
And end-link counselling. So normally we contract you for 6 sessions. We make a plan for that time.
Yes.
And we end by mutual consent.
Okay.
You know what's happening and I know what's happening. If we need to recontract, we talk about that at the time.
Yes.
If you wish to end early, it'd be great if you could let me know.
For sure.
If you require services from another counsellor, or you would like to find a different counsellor that's better fit for you, please let me know, and absolutely I'll facilitate that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, that's fine. Can I just get you to sign there, Claire?
Sure.
Thank you.
There we go.
Great. And while I sign that, how about you tell me a little bit about why you came in today?
Okay. I suppose, Carmen, the primary reason why I'm here today is I'm torn between guilt and feeling pressured about whether to enrol my 4-year-old son Ethan into kindergarten so that I can return to part-time work.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a bit about the part-time work.
I used to be an executive assistant,
Sure.
and that same job had been offered back to me on a part-time basis, which works really well with kindergarten. So, you know, it seems as if everything's aligned, but as I said, you know, I feel guilty about leaving Ethan, but you know, it's a great opportunity to get back to work because it's something I really enjoy.
Right, and Ethan hasn't been to kindy before?
No, this will be his first time.
Is that part of the issue?
It is.
Okay.
Yes, that's the guilt part.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and he's 4, you said?
He is.
So normal kindy starting age?
Yes, that's correct.
And married?
Yes, I have a husband, Jay. He works full time.
Yeah.
And you know, I guess there's probably a bit of stress added to the equation where Jake is fully aware of the job being offered back to me.
Yeah.
And at the moment we have a bit of financial strain within the household, and he sees it as a great opportunity to reduce that.
Okay. Do you see it as a great opportunity for you as well, or just for the money?
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, it is. He's very supportive.
Okay. All right. Well, sometimes when we face decisions, it can help to go through them with another person.
Yes.
And I have a little tool that I would like to try with you, if you're agreeable.
Oh, for sure.
It's called a decision balance sheet.
Yes.
And what it does, it's a handy little tool. It's a bit of a fancy pros and cons list here. We go through basically advantages and disadvantages to making a change or not.
Okay.
And that sometimes helps just bring the issues to the forefront. So,
for sure.
Would you like to try that?
Yeah, certainly.
So, disadvantages to no change. And we'll just write down stay at home mum here, because that is not changing.
Yes.
You continue to be a stay at home mum. Okay. What would you write down?
Well, first of all, the first disadvantage I see is no additional income. Okay. So the financial strain remains.
All right. Anything else coming up for you there?
Look, I do love the work.
Yep.
Or I did love the work, and having the opportunity to go back would be great. There have been times where I've stayed at home and felt quite depressed, actually, not being back in the workforce in terms of having my own independence. So staying at home will probably just increase that feeling.
Okay, so we're writing down here depressed.
Yes, that's correct.
Stifled.
Yeah.
Self-worth.
My self-worth is.
And some independence.
Yes.
Okay, and what I jotted down here.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes, likewise. What I jotted down here was that you love the work.
Very much.
That is an advantage to change.
Yes.
You can see that on the matrix.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go down, shall we?
For sure.
Okay, that's the disadvantages of changing, being at work.
For me, the obvious one would be less time with Ethan. We'll be separated.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would probably see myself as fulfilling my job as a mother. So, add to that would be guilt as well. So, in a sense, there's probably two there.
Yeah.
Less time with Ethan and also that feeling of guilt.
He will be at kindergarten, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and how do you view that?
I see my role as a mother to be there constantly. So, if he's obviously at kindergarten and he's going to go through changes, whether it be circumstances or emotions, I'd love to be there. I feel I need to be there.
Absolutely. Do you need to be there while it's happening, or is he able to re-enter the family and be supported through that change?
Look, probably the latter,
Finding it hard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of emotions when you have a baby, isn't there?
Very much so.
A lot around the first child, especially.
Yes.
It is okay to have times where Ethan is in somebody else's care. It's good for him and it's good for you. Because 4 is the age where they do reach out from their parents and do something else for a while and then come back into that safe, warm environment.
Yes.
And then reach out a bit. We don't go from babies that are totally dependent to adults without a series of small changes in between.
Yes.
And kindergarten is a small change. It feels very big, but in the scale of development, it's not so great.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel about the kindergarten?
Look, explaining how you did, look at put a different perspective on it for me now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not saying it won't feel like, oh, my baby.
No.
That's very normal. We all stand there and cry first time.
Rightio.
Okay. So it's hard.
Yes.
But it happens.
Okay.
And then we're super proud of them for going.
It's
quite normal for you to feel some guilt and like you're not quite good enough. I think all women, certainly all mothers, feel that at some point.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Okay, but you do sound like you are a good mother and you are meeting infants' needs.
Thank you.
Something to keep in mind.
Thank you.
All right, let's look at the advantages of no change.
So I'll be spending more time with Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess, the flow and effect from that is I'd have less guilt of not being an appropriate mother.
Sure. Guilt's something we can work through though.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be attached to
For sure.
a process. Okay, and changes to the advantage. We've already put down love the work.
Yeah. Look, with Ethan attending kindergarten, that he commences kindergarten.
Yeah.
Possibly also it'll enable him to socialise and develop those social skills and meet new kids, generate friends.
Yeah, which is super important.
Yeah, and as was noted before, I return back to the work I love, that I really enjoy.
Yeah, and may help with some of this.
Oh, indeed.
Depression.
Yeah, and also, I bring in that income.
Absolutely. Did doing that exercise give you any clarity?
It certainly did. Thank you very much for that.
That's okay.
I can certainly see it a bit clearer now.
And did it help you come to a decision?
Yes. Look,
not really.
Just by doing that process, I think it's probably reinforced. There's probably more benefits there. That I will enrol Ethan, and I will sort of get in contact with my boss next week, or get in contact with the boss to recommence next week.
Okay, wow. So you're going to move fast.
It's going to move fast, that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
That's okay. So your goal for this week is basically to move things forward, hey?
Yes.
Okay. And then I think really next week what we will start talking about is just how that's gone and just assist you with any emotional fallout from that.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to talk about next week? That is, sorry.
Well, probably just the stress levels, just in helping manage that. And also probably that guilt of fulfilling motherhood duties, I guess.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, I think we have a plan for next week.
Fantastic, thank you, Carmen.
And in the coming weeks, session 3, we are, as a counselling practice, we get you to do a questionnaire.
Yes.
And that just gives us some direction and some feedback.
Yeah.
And also I'll keep touching base with you and asking questions. I do it a little bit more heavily in week 3 and a little bit more heavily in week 5 just so we can see where we're tracking.
No, makes sense.
And that helps us. hands.
Terrific. Well, that's great. That's very clear. Thank you.
Best wishes for this coming week.
Thank you very much.
Big decisions, big changes, but big benefits too.
Yes, I can see those now.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that process. Very exciting.
You're welcome. And I'd like to see you again next week.
Certainly.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Bye. Claire Bowman, Session 1, Part 2. Okay. What have you written in each section of your counselling notes? Okay. In my initial session counselling notes, I have written client name, Claire Bowman, referral information not applicable, and I don't have anything further under contact details. Session 1 of 6, and I have written the date. For background, I have written stay-at-home mum, 4-year-old son Ethan, Jake, husband, previous executive assistant. Presenting issues, I have written help for kindy versus stay-at-home mum, or work versus stay-at-home mum, and she has some guilt issues. Goals, initially I wrote decision, rework, enroll Ethan, recommence, and then I've also made a note, just move things forward. Topics discussed and outcome. So we did decisional balance sheet of and looking at guilt versus fulfillment. The outcome was decision to return to work. We've looked at stress from Jake, and there's money pressure in the household. Interventions, we did a decisional balance tool. Next session is review discussion and look at her emotional reaction to the previous week and her guilt issues, and I've signed that Carmen here. Question 2, what will you write in each section of the counselling plan? My counselling plan has got client details, Claire Bowman, involvement of other agencies or referral information, special needs information, and safety reporting issues are all not applicable. Recording of clients' own identified priorities. I've written enroll Ethan in kidney, recommence work, deal with subsequent guilt regarding her motherhood, and do some stress management. Observed client requirements. I've written attachment issues and guilt, and support through working. Goals, begin part-time work and stress management. Monitoring, which will include Session 3, questionnaire and informal, Session 5, informal. I have signed it and dated it. Question 3, reflect on and evaluate your use of counselling and communication skills. I think I am a little overloaded at the moment, and I'm finding it hard to articulate, which is something to look out for in a real counselling session, that as our load increases, we need to really focus before a session and clear mind and deep breathe so that we can give the client the best of ourselves. So I was quite aware of my articulation during my time with Claire. What do I need to develop? I'm still finding closing out those sessions and segueing from goal setting into let's make a plan and just sort of identifying which areas go where and that. I'm still finding that difficult. It needs some practice, and I think the more real life situations I see and the more paperwork I do, the better I'll get at it, obviously. And probably would just like to spend a little bit of time Googling counselling notes, examples and counselling plans. I still think I need to develop the multitasking as well, of writing, thinking, talking. I think my counselling skills are improving though. I think my open-ended questions are improving, and I think my paraphrases are improving. I think I still need to work on challenging and reflection and perhaps mirroring. Thank you. Hi Claire, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks Carmen.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise.
How are things going?
Yeah, still the same. Probably been worse.
So are you referring to what you touched on at the end of last session, where things between you and Jake are
so
snapping and arguing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still continuing, unfortunately. And I hate to probably admit it, but it's probably increasing.
Okay.
I sort of probably tend to find myself snapping at Jake a bit more.
Yeah.
And it's sort of probably evolving into me yelling at him, and it usually seems around the time when Ethan chucks his tantrum.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That does sound stressful.
Indeed, it is.
Okay, and what do you think? What do you think is making it increase?
I get very stressed. I feel very stressed and overwhelmed when Jake offers his help. I know he's trying to help, but I know it's probably the right thing for him to do. But I find it. I think I find it as him sort of feeling that I'm not doing my job properly as a mother. Probably he's criticising the way I take care of Ethan.
Mm-hmm. Does Jake say anything critical?
No, he's quite supportive.
And he wants to help?
He does, but...
and yet you feel criticised?
I just find that when he comes into that space, I tend to get a bit more stressed.
He's Ethan's dad, though.
Yeah, that's true.
When you went back to work, you knew there would be some load sharing.
Yes.
Just not finding that so easy to deal with, perhaps?
No. As I said, I find it very much as a form of criticism.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Well, it is concerning to hear that the tension between yourself and Jake is rising, and that Ethan is throwing tantrums. That must be quite stressful for you.
Oh, it is.
I'm sorry to hear that. What I would like to discuss with you in that case, and this is something I've been thinking about this week when you first raised the issue of some tensions in your home, was doing a functional behavioural analysis.
Okay.
It's a little bit complicated, but it's worth doing. It's a multi-step process where we analyse behaviours, not just your own, but what's happening in your family. Okay. And we try and identify the antecedents to that behaviour. And that's a big word for your triggers. What are your trigger behaviours?
Right.
What is happening before this snapping and outburst that is causing the behaviour of snapping and outburst? And then what's happening afterwards? And the purpose of doing this is it's an intervention for that negative behaviour.
Yes.
It shows you what to look out for.
Okay.
It can change the subsequent behaviour and the subsequent consequence.
Okay.
And it enables you to set some goals around what behaviours you would like to see change.
For sure.
Okay.
Well, that sounds interesting.
This one's called an ABC analysis, incidentally. So, would you like to try it?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, let's start smack in the middle. We've got some snapping and yelling. What happens? Just think of your last time you had a good snap and yell at Jake. What happened just before?
Well, they usually sort of occur on the days that I go to work. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably feeling stressed and tired.
Right.
So before this, so sort of leading up to it, I guess, Ethan's chucking his tantrum.
So Ethan chucks it before?
Yes, when he's at the dinner table.
Okay. That is a bit of a different spin on it, isn't it? So he chucks it before. So this is a bit of a reaction to the tantrum, perhaps.
It could possibly be.
Okay. What's Ethan chucking to tell you about? Do you know?
I don't know. As I say, it tends to doesn't happen every night, but the pattern seems to be when I am at work, or when on the days that I'm at work.
Sure. What's different for him?
Obviously, he'd be going to kindergarten.
Okay. How do you think Ethan's feeling?
Well, change has occurred, so probably unsettled.
Unsettled, and he's usually at the dinner table, you said?
Yes.
Right. Let's draw a bit of a line here. Let's make this Ethan's behaviour.
Right.
Well, before we do that, what happens between you and Jake overhearing consequences after you snap and yell at each other?
Ethan, Jake tends to walk off.
And what is the consequence of that?
Well, the consequence of that is, we don't. I mean, the yelling only happens for a few minutes. It doesn't go for a long time. And as much as he walks off, I must admit I do actually feel quite good about it. In terms that I've yelled at him, it feels like I've just offloaded.
Okay. So it's a tension release?
Yeah, I guess so.
What else is it?
It's probably a way of stopping that sense of being criticised. It's stopping that process.
There's another way I can think of, or another outcome, consequence that happens from Jake walking off, and that is you regain control of the situation.
Right, yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's removed himself from that space. Yeah.
And you pop yourself back into the role of mother.
Yes. Yeah, I've never noticed that.
So there's a couple of things going on here. This has been quite enlightening. The snapping and the yelling, there's a bit of resentment, perhaps, between Jake and yourself about parenting.
Yeah, look, yeah, that's probably true.
And that's something you're finding difficult, your change, your role change. Sounds like Jake's quite happy to get on board and help Ethan, and that you're actually finding him contributing difficult.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm reading that right?
I believe you are. Looking at it on the paper, it certainly looks as if, I feel there's an encroachment on my role as a mother.
Absolutely. Let's pop down here to Ethan for a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Ethan's behaviour is tantrum.
Yes.
What happens before Ethan's tantrum?
So he's at kindergarten and...
immediately before.
Okay, so he gets to see mum and dad sit at the table.
Are you all eating?
We are.
Okay. Is he eating?
He does.
He does eat?
Yeah.
So...
But then...
I'm not seeing a tantrum trigger there.
Well, when we're at the dinner table, that's the time that Jake and I use to catch up on the day and what's happened. So I suspect Ethan may be feeling left out.
And perhaps, I don't know if you remember this, but right back in session 1 we talked about the development of a child gaining independence, and then that's safe to do because they can come back and get reassurance from the family again.
Yes.
And right after kindy might be that prime time for reassurance.
Yes, I see your point.
And perhaps he isn't getting that tantrum, and your consequence is what?
Mum and Dad yelling.
Yeah. It's just taking us.
Very true.
Right here. So let's set some goals around that.
For sure, that'll be great.
I personally would set your goals around here.
Okay.
What are we doing with our little fella to stop that initial tantrum that's putting the stress?
Certainly allow time to reconnect with him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, let's write that down. Allow time to reconnect. Perhaps you and Jake could eat later. He eats first.
Yeah,
give him
for sure.
Your attention while he's eating.
Yeah, not a problem.
Something like that.
Yes.
That wasn't a direction. That was a suggestion.
No, that's a great suggestion. Yeah.
Some way of doing that. Allow time to reconnect with Ethan. That's both of you, isn't it?
Yes.
What about this consequence here? Do you think there's some goal setting to be done around?
Yeah, look, I would love to, seek assistance in how I can control my behaviour on that.
I think you feel stress keenly.
Yeah.
I think you feel Ethan's distress very keenly.
Yes.
So by helping Ethan, it's helping your stress.
Yeah.
But I think also perhaps you need to let Jake help you in the way that he helps you.
Okay, for sure.
So how about, what do you think is the way you can be more permissive with Jake? How do you think you can achieve that for you?
Look, can certainly allow Jake to have his time with Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me not to be at the forefront of the time together.
Yeah.
But just to allow that balanced, that's supposed to be balanced.
So up here you said in your trigger behaviour, there's some stress and some fatigue.
Yes.
Perhaps at that point is where you set this goal. I'm stressed, I'm fatigued, and Jake reconnects with Ethan.
Yeah.
And I go and have a shower or something.
For sure.
Thereby addressing these trigger behaviours.
Okay.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, that looks like a good plan, Carmen.
And that can change this consequence.
Yeah.
Okay?
That looks good.
So your goal is to notice fatigue and stress and take action, which for you is communicate with Jake to take his shift.
For sure.
And move away.
Yeah.
Step up, move away. All right. These interventions and change of behaviours don't work unless you're monitoring them.
Yeah.
What's a way that you think you could keep a record of how this is going for you?
Look, I'd be quite happy just to, if you think it's suitable, just to keep it in a diary.
Diary, absolutely. That'd be great. Are you able to bring the diary in next time you come?
Yeah, for sure.
Have a little bit of a look at it.
Not a problem.
Simple. Yes, it worked. No, it didn't. Yes,
yeah.
I thought it. No, I didn't. Something to be aware of.
Okay.
These things take time.
For sure.
You skip one and it goes belly up, back on the horse the next day.
Yeah.
And just keeping that awareness of the situation going.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, we are heading towards the end of our session right now. Is there anything you want to discuss next week?
No, look, probably just go over the same issues again.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Just to monitor it.
Yeah.
See how I'm progressing. But thank you very much for what we've done today. It's found it very useful.
Absolutely. You're quite welcome. Well, I will see you again next week.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you. Claire Bowman, Session 3, Part 2. Question 1 is, what is included in my counselling notes? I've got client name, Claire Bowman, Session 3 of 6, and the date is included. I've written goals as allow time to reconnect with Ethan, allow Jake to have his time with Ethan, and notice fatigue and stress in herself, take action, Jake to step up, and she's to move away. Topics discussed and outcome, issues with Jake, stress and snapping, that Claire is still exhibiting guilt and she takes Jake's intervention as a form of criticism. Interventions and strategies, we did an ABC functional behavioural analysis, and Claire is going to keep a diary. So next session I've written review of intervention and signed it Carmen Pitt. What did I do well in that session? I think I communicated well with Claire. I think I heard where she was coming from. I think I was able to mirror her very well and summarise what she was saying. And I felt I was able to sympathise with her very well and show her real unconditional positive regard considering where she was at the time. What didn't work well, I did find the behavioural analysis hard to do. That's the first one I've done on camera. Again, finding articulation difficult. Need to develop ways of communicating with the client that is clearer and more succinct and precise. I think practice is how I go about developing those skills. In terms of integrating an appropriate personality or development theory into my work, for Claire, I have picked Freud's psychodynamic theory, and his theory is that by the age of 5, most of our personalities are fairly formed, and that some of the issues we bring into adulthood are unconsciously brought in from childhood. Now, Claire has some fairly significant attachment issues with her son. She's a little bit over-attached, quite controlling about who cares for him, even if it's her husband. And it would be interesting to find out if there's attachment issues from her childhood and whether or not that's something she needs to resolve as perhaps an overcompensation for something in her childhood that is coming out with how she treats Ethan. And I could perhaps integrate that into future counselling work by delving a bit into what brings up those insecurities. Thank you. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Carmen. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you going?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
So today is session number 6, and that's the end of the sessions we're contracted for.
Wow. Gone quickly.
Gone quickly indeed. So what I'd like to do with you, if that's okay, is just review your progress over the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you came in basically right at the beginning with of wanting to make a decision about whether you return to work or not. And you have returned to work, and Ethan's in kindy, and we've worked on some of the guilt issues around how you feel as a mother, and it does seem that those guilt issues are there regardless of the circumstance.
Yes.
And you've worked on some behaviour management with arguing with Jake and working out who's parenting at what different time, and working on some good communication and some collaboration.
Yes.
And you've progressed beautifully with that. It's been really amazing to watch your journey.
Yeah, thank you. I do feel I've actually made progress, since the first day.
Okay.
So it's been really good. Thank you very much.
That's great. So yeah, I have been really proud of you.
Thank you.
And you've shown some great strength. So I'm just going to ask you some feedback questions now.
Sure.
So do you feel like you've met the goals that you set out at the beginning?
I don't feel that I've met the initial goal at the beginning, and that was to return to work.
Yeah.
So that one's certainly been ticked.
Okay, just that one?
Certainly communicating with Jake, and things have been put in place with Ethan around his tantrums.
Okay.
So we are applying tools. So so we've certainly grown from where we were.
Yeah. Is there any need or goal that you feel didn't get met?
Look, I met the initial ones of returning to work, but I still feel as if I still struggle with my low self-esteem and self-confidence. So it's certainly like those to work on those if I could.
Okay. Do you feel more counselling would be beneficial?
I do, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, so basically we've hit the end of our contracted sessions, but what I can do, if you think it would be helpful, is recontract with you.
Yes.
And we can look further at some of those issues.
Oh no, that'd be great. Certainly.
Okay. And how many sessions do you think initially you'd like to try again for?
Well, I found the 6 to work quite well, so if we could sort of retain that format, 6 would be fantastic.
Sure, start with 6. Okay. So basically what I'll do is I'll just discuss with you now where we're going to go with that new counselling contract then.
Okay.
And I'll make a new counselling plan for us to work through over the next 6 sessions.
No worries, that'd be great. Thank you.
Because your old one will have changed quite significantly.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned some self-esteem issues, self-doubt. Is there anything, can you go into that a little bit more? What specifically you would like to work on?
Well, I think it really all centres around my lack of confidence. So if you could sort of help me work through that aspect.
Have you always lacked confidence?
I think it's always been there. It's possibly just as situations arise and where I'm at at that moment. But look, I would say it's always been there.
Okay, and what would you like to change about that?
I'd like to be able to, I guess, go into situations with a bit more confidence, a bit more self-assurance.
Yeah. And how would you like to do that?
In terms of addressing them? Or?
No, not in terms of how you get the confidence, but what would entering a situation with confidence look like for you?
Being able to speak confidently.
Okay, so speak assertively.
Being able to, I guess, carry myself, in an assured manner.
Sure. Is there a specific situation you'd like to start on that with?
Look, work is probably the environment where as much as I love being back at work, I'm still, have been given times where I'm quite stressed. So that's probably where I'd probably apply the most.
Absolutely. So can you see here how I've got Claire would like to speak assertively, carry herself confidently,
yes,
and have an assured manner at work.
Yes,
is a more tangible goal.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Okay, so that will be our starting point, that goal for next session.
Sure.
And I'll complete the new counselling contract. The new counselling plan. And if you just carry on with sessions this time of day on Tuesday.
Sure.
Go and make another appointment, and I will see you next week.
No worries. And just another note, if I may. When we start new sessions, can we do a review at the start of the session?
Yeah, sure.
On how things have progressed.
Yeah.
And but I've still retained my diary.
Okay.
So I can certainly use that as a follow-up as well.
Sure. With the diary. Yeah. Alrighty. Just made a note of that quite clearly.
Thank you.
Thanks for that request.
No worries.
Very good self-governing. All right. I will see you next week then.
Thank you, Karen.
Claire Bowman, Session 6, Part B. What have you written in each section of your counselling notes? I have written client name Claire Bowman and Session 6 of 6. Goals I have written, because she's going to continue confidence building, speak assertively, carry myself in an assured manner at work, which seem to be more tangible than just build confidence. Topics discussed and outcome: self-doubt, inadequacy, lack of confidence, always been there, the lack of confidence, and she said at the moment, so I actually wrote that phrase down. Interventions and strategies, she's contracting in for more counselling for a cycle of 6. And next review is review at the start of each session with her diary as requested. And signed Carmen Pitt. Question 2, reflect on and evaluate your use of counselling communication skills and your effectiveness in recontracting. I think Claire knew pretty much by the time she got in that she wasn't ready to stop counselling, and I also had a sense of that from previous times. So quite quickly were we able to both agree that more counselling would work, and she liked the current format of 6 sessions review. So we contracted that in fairly quickly. I did find it difficult to set a new goal with Claire, being that she just sort of has this generalised, I don't like myself very much, and not an actual sort of tangible goal. I did try and get a tangible goal out of her, which was to appear more assertive and carry herself in an assured manner. I can see that goal changing as we delve a little deeper into what that means, but I think it's a good kick-off point for now. I think I recontracted well, and she understood that it was for another 6 sessions, that it would change what we were looking at. But I also think she carried in some nice things with her diary and her, it's a continuous journey for her. So I think I did that well. I think my communication skills are getting a bit clearer and a bit more succinct. I felt like I communicated more clearly with Claire in this session than I perhaps have in previous sessions, and that it felt a bit more natural. I think I reflected better this time, something I've struggled with a little bit, just able to reflect back to her what she's saying, and also to bring her to a point just through mirroring of recognising her own behaviour. So that's doing better. I still think all of the counselling skills of open and close-ended questions, summarising, all those sorts of things. They all just need practice to come out clearly and well and articulated in a way that the client can easily agree or disagree or find discrepancies. And I think that is just going to take practice and perhaps more reading, familiarity of material. So that's how I will improve myself there. Thanks.